rest of that, how that determines the worth of the other resources in the game, I've decided to break that down fully. Uh, we go through each one's, just the usable items, the resources that you can actually create armor and stuff out of, because most of the time that's probably what you're going to be using it for. And then it'd be based off of, we have our ancient debris, diamond ore, gold ore, iron, and of course determining the values off of that. But because those can be made into armor, they actually have a worth, a value to them. And just these ones here, redstone, coal, lapis, emeralds, copper, those ones would have a value that could be determined based off the cost that you want to sell these at. And so using this idea, I came up with this diamond standard. Each one has broken down, there's like 10 levels to it. So I've got it all broken down here. Starting with the most expensive, you have your netherite block, which would be 27 dia. And I'm using the term dia because, you know, it's gotta have a standardized form. And that's the actual number right there. So yeah, that's how much money, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, 10 trillion, $8 billion is one diamond. So 27 times 10 trillion, 8 billion. And then you have your diamond block, which would be 9 dia, which just makes sense, you know, because it's 9 diamonds to make that. And then gold block coming in next, 5.04 dia. Just how I determined these values was, you have your pickaxe and how much durability it uses, and if you're using a pickaxe to mine this block, what percentage of the ore or the actual resource is being used to collect it. So one diamond would be able to use, well, a diamond pickaxe would be using 1,562 durability. So if you were to divide that by 3, then each diamond were to do that 500 durability per diamond. And just going off of that, you need the 3 iron, so we need to do the same formula for how much iron you're using to actually mine all of these other things, and keeping that into account. We went to the netherite ingots. A netherite ingot would cost about 2.96 dia, rounded up to 3 dia, just because it makes it easier for all purposes and intents. And you can just call that what it is. And then we have iron blocks, which would be 2.25 dia. And you're just using this for, like, if you were wanting to buy enough for a beacon, then you could use however many it takes. So that's 9 times this times n plus 5. That's a lot more than that would be. So a full beacon would probably cost you about 1 netherite block if you're making it out of iron, just off the top of my head. And then the whole basis of it, the diamond, which would cost 1 dia. And the translation, it's just all how it goes. And then you have your gold ingot, which would be about 0.55 dia. And then working that into pretty much how you're creating the cost of the netherite ingot would be how much you would need to create the actual ingot. So you have the cost of a gold ingot, which is 0.55 dia, and then the cost of the iron ingot is 0.25 dia, and then the netherite scrap is 0.2 dia. So if you need 4 of these and 4 of these to create 1 ingot, you're basically just adding 0.75 dia 4 times, which would pretty much get you about that. Just to keep it nice and neat though. And then that gold nugget, which would be about 0.06 dia, just because of how determining the worth of the gold was kind of interesting, because I had to use the same form of the pickaxe, but then also equate it to how it would be made. So using iron you can mine diamonds, but using iron you can also mine gold. So it's not like iron could be more than gold, because you need iron to mine gold, but you can use stone to mine iron. So that means that iron is the lowest valued ore on the totem pole that you can actually use. Due to its rarity, netherite scrap, finding ancient debris would be more valuable than finding gold nuggets, because you can find full gold bars in both the nether and the overworld. Then you have your iron nugget, which would be the lowest valued at 0.03 dia. And that's just fun to think about, because that leaves it so that there's not really any value unchecked. And if you need anything less than that, then you might need to just raise the price, because there's no reason to just leave it that. And now for the fun part, the calculation of the full armor of each piece. So netherite armor would cost about 36 dia, with its helmet costs being broken down into here. These costs to actually make it. You need 5 dia for the helmet, as well as 2.616 dia in gold nuggets, and 0.8 dia there. And again, just adding all of that up, that'd be enough for a full gold bar, 4 full gold bars, and that would make the netherite ingot used to create the alloy of the netherite. And just going through here, so each cost of that would be listed as it is: 8 dia for a full helmet, 11 for the chest plate, 10 for the leggings, and then 7 for the boots. All just based off of adding this all together. And then you have diamond armor, which would cost you about 24 dia. And you have just same formula for breaking down the price: 5 dia, 8 dia for the chest plate, 7 for the diamonds, and then 4 for the diamond boots. But simply because of the fact that you take these same resources and put them in the crafting table as it is, this is just how much it would cost to actually do that. If you want to mark up the price so that you can create a profit, then you can use adding the price of an iron block, or just another iron ingot, so that you can create a profit from making the armor. And then with gold armor, that would cost you 13.2 dia. with the same broken down formula. Could use ingots, could use nuggets to pay for it, but it'd be a lot simpler to just pay in nuggets and convert them into ingots. So same thing here, the cost of this, each one being priced at each gold ingot at 0.55 dia, and just multiplying that all together to create that cost, adding them up for each value, because again, it's all going to be the same number of pieces for each block. The only difference in cost is just how the resource costs now based off its genuine rarity. Of course, you can fluctuate the market by creating an iron farm or a gold farm in the nether. Can't really farm diamonds, but you could find them throughout the nether or throughout the overworld in rare cases such as chests underwater or villages, I guess. And then the least expensive one would be 6 dia for iron armor, just again based off of the whole principle of this is how much it costs to create each one of these. So you could pay in full or just pay with the larger value piece. So if you want to get full iron armor, you could pay the whole 6 dia in iron or just get 6 diamonds. It's all just simple about how you want to do the conversions for that and just how simplistic you like it to be. Now when you're creating the cost of other items for like animals and stuff, you can determine based off of your needs what you want the price of that animal to be. So if I want to determine the price of this donkey as worth greater than or equal to the price of iron armor, then I can say this thing costs 7 dia. Of course, that means in the cost of real money, that's like that times 7, which would be far too much to use in real world, but that just makes it fun. If you're a billionaire and you want to use a Minecraft currency system or invest in, I would call it Minecoin, but it's not Minecoin, then you can just simply pop this into some sort of minted NFT. But I'm not gonna tell you how to spend your actual money. I'm just gonna create a new system of money for you to use. But that's basically the gist of it. Again, here's that process. Again, you need each one can get you percentage of that. So dividing up the entire durability of a pickaxe, and by each of the ingots it takes to use that. So adding that together and subtracting it for each diamond that you can get, it's just a whole process. You have to trust me on this one. But it's pretty useful if you're wanting to use like a world that doesn't really have like a currency. If you're wanting to just create a currency or just make a nice little information hub or conversion rate. So if you ever do want to make like an outside sourced server where you can pay to win, you want to buy wheat, alright, that'll be 0.03 dia, which would still cost far more than anybody I know would be able to afford. That like several $billions. But it's just a fun little thing to think about as opposed to a real thing.